Being Black in America comes with its challenges. However, we understand that enlightenment through education is the oppressor's worst fear. By bridging the gap between academia and the people, our purpose is to equip you with knowledge that breaks down barriers during your journey towards truth and freedom. Welcome to the Black and Highly Dangerous Podcast.
Yo, Daph, what's going on? What's going on?
Nothing much. Honestly, I'm waiting for Christmas break. I'm like so exhausted. I need a break.
Mm-hmm.
Like seriously.
Yeah, me too. I like, even with these next couple of days, I got like 60 final papers to grade.
Yeah.
But once that's done, my semester is over pretty much. So it's the last little bit of stretch.
I feel you. That's the one thing I do not miss is grading. But this week, I'll probably, I have maybe 6 interviews on the books, and I'm trying to get more because before I leave my research site city for a break, I'm trying to get in as many as possible. So it's about to be a doozy of a week.
When you get them interviews, then I'm sure you got to do the transcriptions, right? Or write up, or you got help with that?
So I'm gonna pay to get them transcribed. I actually found this website called Timmy, and it's like 10 cents a minute. Now, they aren't gonna be perfect transcriptions, but I should be listening to my own, recordings anyway, and I can correct the transcripts rather than having to do them all myself.
That makes sense. Yeah, that'll be easier.
Yeah.
Oh, because that transcribing process, man, that is no joke for sure.
Oh, no. A long time ago, I tried to do one. It was like a 45-minute interview. It took me like 6 hours. I was like, never again.
Yeah, I had to do that for my dissertation. 24 interviews. So, man.
Oh, my goodness. You transcribed them all?
Transcribed them all. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Shout out to Ty, because when I tell y'all, that's some work right there.
Yeah, I always that on anybody. But yeah, if I could get some funds to do it, somebody else to do it, yeah, that's a smart way to do it. Even if it's not perfect, just to get somebody to do it, and then you can just reread it, re-listen to it.
Make any corrections.
That's cool. Anything else going on with you besides looking forward to the break?
Nothing much. What's going on with you?
Nothing really. I'll be on vacation this upcoming week.
Nice.
Yeah, be out in Cabos, looking forward to
Okay.
Looking forward to that.
Y'all going to a resort?
Yeah, man. Going out to, a nice little spot, all inclusive, and relax. Man, I'm looking forward to that. I don't think I've ever looked forward to a vacation as much as this one. Most time I go on vacation, I'd be like, all right, cool. But now I'm like, oh my God, I cannot wait to just be out there on the beach, just relaxing, sipping on some mojitos.
I feel you. I'm going to, I think I might be going to Cabo San Lucas or either a close location in March.
Okay.
And I'm looking forward to that too. So
yeah,
y'all have to tell me how it is.
Oh yeah.
So I have something to look forward to.
I'll update y'all. Hopefully come back a little more relaxed, a little more tan, a little more happy. We got some old Lord news.
Well, we have a couple stories. They're probably not as outrageous as some of our stories in the past, but they're old Lord news.
Okay, I'm sure that made the cut. Let's get into it. Hello, and welcome to BHD News, where we give you the most current and eye-opening old Lord news of the week. Join us as we present news that'll make you want to say,
Okay, so do you remember how over the last year, people in the South, protesters have been knocking down Confederate monuments, that movement. So that happened in August at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. Students knocked down a statue called Silent Sam, and it represented all Confederate soldiers. It was put up by alumni, the United Daughters of the Confederacy. Well, after students toppled it, the university decided that they wanted to rebuild it, and they were going to put, I think, $5 million into building a new Silent Sam statue. And the students and teaching assistants, they said, nah. So several dozen teaching assistants at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, started a strike on Friday, and nobody's getting their grades.
Oh man, that's a good strike.
Yes, they are withholding grades as long as the university moves forward with the idea of constructing a building to house the Confederate monument known as Silent Sam. So,
yeah, that's good. I'm glad they're doing that, man. Because there's always issues with that, but that's the power of TAs and instructors, man. You could really shut down the school, and the schools be playing games. Like, all right, well, let's see how this school runs without us.
Like you said, so like you just said, you got 60 papers to grade. Like if you had a TA, or TAs, they may have been grading most of those. And if you thought that you had these next 3 weeks off because somebody else was doing the grading, and then all of a sudden your TA's like,
All the professors like, nah, probably I'm like probably 1,000% sure that president's office or whoever is getting tons of angry emails from faculty right now. Like,
yes.
Like, nah, bro, you got to change this.
Yes. Okay, so this next story is interesting. So, two nuns, were the heads of a Catholic school called St. James Catholic School. They were in charge of collecting tuition checks and fees and etc. like that. Well, what the archdiocese and everybody else didn't know is that the nuns had created 2 bank accounts. One to deposit money for the school, but one to deposit money for their gambling habit. So the nuns embezzled as much as $500,000 in tuition fees and donations, spending some of the money on trips to casinos in Vegas.
That's wild.
Yeah, they have been doing this for like 10 years.
That is wild. $500,000 embezzling from tuition and going to Vegas and running them tables. That's wild.
Yes. And, the archdiocese, they decided they're not going to pursue criminal charges because the nuns said they were sorry.
That's it? That's it? You take $500,000 and just say sorry, and then you're good. That's what... This story is wild. And I wonder when they was going to Vegas, were they still wearing like their traditional nun garments while they're out there?
No, that was probably some thought attire. They put on some Fashion Nova.
Wearing that Fashion Nova. Instagram nuns in Fashion Nova. That's hilarious. Okay. I feel like that's going to be a movie eventually, I'm sure, in the next few years.
It gotta be.
Because that's a wild story that you can't put on a big screen. You got to put on the big screen.
Okay, so these next 2 are Lord news stories. One, this just, kind of speaks to the ignorance that's kind of out there. I think World AIDS Day just passed. Am I right? Okay, so a woman in a village in southern India drowned in a lake. Now, she was HIV positive. And don't you know that the village decided to drain the entire lake,
oh my God,
which would happen to be their only source of fresh water.
Oh, wow. That's wild.
Now, the reason that this is ignorant is because HIV cannot survive in water.
And not one person knew that. They just was like, let's drain the lake.
They probably just didn't care.
That's wild.
And they said we would have consumed the water if it was the body of a normal person, but the woman died of HIV. There's no other way. The authorities must drain out the water and fill it with fresh water to save the lives of villagers.
That's crazy. That's a lot of effort for no reason. People need to... All you gotta do is quick Google, man.
But it's just kind of like, that goes to the stigma that's attached to AIDS and HIV. But it's, people, talk about how easy it is to get. But if you actually do some research, AIDS is a very, like, I guess, what they would call a weak virus. It doesn't really survive in like the air and water and stuff like that. It really only survives in the body. And, the ways that you catch it, like, people are just ignorant about it.
Yeah. And you know what? I think Chris was telling me something. There was like this story about in Atlanta. I think it was like some article talking about how officials or people are urging people in Atlanta to take like some drug that prevents like HIV or whatever it is. And I know the drug, I've seen like infomercials or commercials of it all the time, as of recent about that as too. Like, cause I guess they're saying it's so prevalent or the chances of getting it there are higher than in most other places.
Yeah. And it's crazy. I just read that story too. And I would just say, I think it's true. So I know the rates are high, but I will tell you, when I lived in there in Atlanta from 2008 to 2011, I was so paranoid that I decided that I was celibate. Like, no lie. Yeah. I am not. That might be TMI, but it was just kind of like, my life is very important to me.
Yeah, I mean, Atlanta is one of those places that has that reputation, and I mean, I haven't looked into it fully. I'm sure the rates are higher in other places because it's said so much, but I wonder if it is like how much of it is like really based in facts, or like this kind of
stigma,
mass panic. Yeah, like
the thing is, I mean, well, a lot of people aren't going to disclose, so I'm pretty. Well, no, I don't know. I don't know, Ty. Because I mean, when I lived there, it was, I won't say hysteria around it, but like, people just knew to be very careful, because it's so.
But what is it about Atlanta specifically? Do you know? Like,
well, it's. And so this is where the stigma and the stereotypes and maybe the negativity comes in. Atlanta is a very, I guess, open environment in terms of like LGBT communities. So that's one thing. But there's also this like stereotype that a lot of guys in Atlanta are on the DL. How true that is, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was enough of a like, yo, it's for real out here. And hearing it not just from, other women that's like trying to fill their girls in, but like hearing it from your male friends, hearing it from your gay male friends, like for real. So I don't know. It's part stigma, but like I live there. And when I tell you that as an insider, I was just like, it's not worth it.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, that's something you ain't trying to play with. So no, I get it. That could be a good topic idea. We could think about, I don't know, just the stigma around HIV or somebody doing research on that, or even just like the consequences of being down on the down low. Or
yes, honey. Maybe we can find somebody that'll be anonymously talk to us.
I'm sure maybe somebody did some kind of research on it, maybe some interviews, or we'll see. We'll look for it. That'll be a good topic to cover.
Actually, I do. I think I have an idea. Somebody. Yeah.
Okay.
But speaking of like, I guess being careful. Have you ever heard of neti pots?
No, I don't even know what that is.
A neti pot is kind of like this. It looks like a teapot, but it's a teapot that you like stick up your nose so that you can like drain your sinuses. So it's like you put water in it. You're supposed to put sterile saline like solution or whatever in it, and you like put it up your nose and like let it run, and then it'll run out the other side. It's really weird, but people use it to clear out their sinuses. I know a lot of people who have done it, and they said that it works.
Okay.
I wouldn't do it just because I just like that would gross me out. But
like I'm gonna have to Google this and look this up later. Like I never heard of it.
Yeah, but the thing is, people it's that season. People are getting colds. People are getting sinus infections. Please be careful, because a 69-year-old Seattle woman was told to treat her sinus infection with a sterile saline neti pot treatment. But she decided to use a Brita filter, which did not sterilize the water. After she did it, she developed a rash on her nose. She didn't think it was, anything serious, but she eventually died after having a seizure, and and the doctors found out that her brain was being eaten by an amoeba.
What? What
Yes.
kind of water did she use?
No, amoebas are common in water and in soil, but they rarely infect humans.
Yeah.
So, amoebas might even be present. And I know they were probably present when we lived in Lafayette, but, amoebas, they're present. So, but they just normally don't make you sick or whatnot. But this is kind of a rare thing, but it's just kind of like, y'all follow the instructions.
Yeah, definitely not a Brita filter. That's crazy.
Yeah. And so it was kind of by the time they figured it out, because it actually took a year between like when that happened and her actually having the seizure. And by the time the doctors found it, she had too many like soft spots in her brain where like the amoebas have been going in.
That's crazy. Now, yeah, that's a long time between. I guess, you can't really connect the dots if so much happened in between that year.
Yeah.
Well, that's sad. But yeah, definitely be careful using these neti pots then.
Yeah. And you look it up, Ty.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up because I never heard these before. I don't stick nothing in my nose anyway. So that's wild.
Not even fingers?
Little fingers every once in a while. Nothing but tissues and fingers, that's it.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Don't worry about amoebas from that.
Although you might have to worry about like cold and flu, but that's about it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well that's it for Oh Lord news, and I guess we can move on to discussing like some regular news.
Yeah. I guess some of the things that we've seen in this past week or so, current events, if you will. One news story I saw in particular that's been circulating around these past few days is that, the city of Minneapolis is confronting its history on housing segregation. So they're actually the first major U.S. city to end single family home zoning. And, for those of you that don't know, these were kind of policies that were really contribute to a lot of the racial segregation post civil rights, even like things like redlining and stuff like that, where they wouldn't allow for multifamily homes to be in certain areas. So that means with single family homes, these are people who can pretty much own a home, like white middle class people. And so people who need extra help or whatever, or multifamily units where you can have the rent be a little cheaper, these communities didn't allow it. And pretty much almost every city in the U.S. still has these policies and these zoning policies in place. And so Minneapolis was the first to now overturn it, where now they can have duplex and triplex homes in these suburban communities, which is big in a lot of ways. And it's the funny thing is too, reading it, that there was still pushback. And they actually tried to, because first I think it was for up to 4 family homes. Then the pushback reduced it to 3 family homes. And then like right before it passed, there was like another last minute pushback to say to duplexes. But that didn't make it as well. And then also they're allowing it to be these units to not just be allowed into these former single family homes, but also closer to things like public transportation venues and stuff like that. To give people, again, who live in the city access now to, these suburban areas when they start to build these kind of units.
Yeah, that is pretty big, because when you go into any predominantly Black neighborhood, you see plenty of duplexes, you see plenty of multifamily homes. But yeah, for a long time, people of a certain hue and people from certain socioeconomic backgrounds have been able to, I guess, protect their property values from multifamily homes. And it's just kind of like, hopefully that will, also have a positive impact on the values in home values in Black communities, because they are largely undervalued, potentially because of the allowing of like multifamily homes in that. Though if it's kind of like, if this is something that's spread out, then that's something that you can't penalize predominantly Black neighborhoods for.
So again, so we'll see. You know, I know Minnesota usually prides itself on being kind of really progressive state, and they're still moving in that direction. And, you know, hopefully other cities will begin to, you know, make those changes too, because it's really not that necessary, you know, to still have these kind of zoning laws on the books. And it's sad that it's 2018 and now these things are just being overturned. It's kind of sad too. Oh man.
You said Minneapolis is a progressive state, so you'll move there?
Minnesota. Well, it's actually but it's really cold out there. So probably not. But the funny thing is, when I was on the market, I had an interview out there at a school in Minneapolis, and it was my first time out there. And actually, the city itself, Twin Cities, was actually really cool. You know, it was like really artsy and like laid back, and it had a lot of cool things. I was like, I wouldn't mind living here in the summertime. You know.
That's so funny. Yeah, I got some friends that live there. We went in the summertime for a wedding, and it's nice. It reminds me of like a St. Louis or something, like a bigger Midwestern city. One story I wanted to talk about, because I read this and it made me think about our episode about Black maternal outcomes. And it made me really sad. A Colorado man had to rush his wife, Kevon Connie, to the hospital after she began hemorrhaging at home. She went into early labor. What he did not know is that when he went to the hospital, he would be faced with one of the toughest decisions of his life. He would be faced with the decision of choosing between the life of his wife and the life of his unborn child, because doctors either had to perform surgery on the wife, to, stop the hemorrhaging, but that surgery would have cost them the life of the child, or they performed the emergency C-section, which would mean that the wife would most likely pass away. And I feel like in 2018, people should not be having to make those decisions. Women should not have to decide between whether they want to have kids and whether they want to live. And their husbands or partners, who could be men or women, should not have to make the decision on whether, they are going to, move forward with their wife or move forward as a single parent.
No, that's wild.
And he ultimately made the decision to save his daughter. He said he felt like his wife would have hated him forever if he had chosen her. And so, just prayers and support to that family, because that's tough.
I can't even imagine being put in that situation and having to make that decision. I can't. I wouldn't even know. That's wild.
For me, it was kind of like this turned into like a huge discussion on this message board that I participate on, like one of the biggest that I've seen. And one thing I can say is, partners, husbands, wives, make sure you have these tough conversations before a pregnancy or at the early stages of a pregnancy. If possible, have some type of advanced healthcare directive filed at the hospital, because it turned into a big debate, because there were a lot of women who said, I want to live. But if your husband doesn't know that, if he has to make assumptions, you know what I'm saying? That's just, it's a choice that I don't even feel like your partner should have to live with. It's kind of like, it's something that should be discussed up front so that they can know for sure and not have to live with whether they made the decision that you would have wanted.
Yeah, no, that's right. That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, I was like, yeah, I'm about to have this conversation, you know, 'cause you just never know. I'm like, yo, I have no idea, you know, how she would feel or what, you know, her thoughts on this would be. And I'm like, yep, no, definitely going to be a topic we'll talk about. 'Cause you're right. I think you got to have these tough conversations because you just never know. And
you just never know.
I'd feel more comfortable knowing like, okay, we had the conversation and then this is her stance on it, you know, and then you can make that more informed decision instead of having to be guessing in a way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. But like we said, prayers are out to him. He does have a GoFundMe. His name is Frederick Connie. You guys can probably look up that GoFundMe if you want to help, because I'm not sure if they had life insurance and thing. And that's another topic. No matter how young you are, people get some life insurance.
And actually get it when you are young. Because the younger you are, the cheaper it is. You know, the older you get, the more expensive it is. So get locked into them 20, 30-year deals now, paying like $15, $20 a month.
Yes, that's exactly what I pay. Mm-hmm. And what I pay for my mom is way more than that, like for real. Yes.
It's a different ball game.
It's a whole different ball game. So do it. I got my first policy at like 25 when we were in Lafayette. Mm-hmm. I was like, hey, why not? So yeah, do it, y'all.
Yep. And, sticking with this topic too, a couple of weeks ago, two things I have in my mind, but a couple of weeks ago, I did see this viral video of a guy who was, I guess giving a testimony, on Congress or somewhere, a black guy, about how his wife died due to pregnancy, black guy, how his wife died due to pregnancy complications too. You saw that video?
Mm-hmm. It was Judge Hatchett's son. So that happened a while ago. So her story is, you know who Judge Hatchett is? Okay, yeah, her son, his wife. They were actually at one of the best hospitals in the country.
Yeah.
I think they were like Sinai. Yes. And she had a C-section and she started hemorrhaging. Mm-hmm. He saw the blood coming out of the catheter. He alerted the nurse who, I think they supposed to put in a CT scan stat or something like that. But that stat turned into 10 hours. Yeah. And by the time they took her back there, she never came out.
Like, bruh, when I heard that story, I told Chris, I was like, you ain't never got to worry about that. They told this man they told him that his wife was not a priority at the moment.
Yes.
I said, nah.
Yes.
I said, listen, you will wake up. You might need some bail money when you wake up to get me out, but don't worry. You go get that CT scan.
I will turn that hospital upside down. And I mean, even if not, baby, we're going to take you out of that bed and we're going to take you to the emergency department. Something.
You're just not sitting there playing like that, bleeding out like that. And they just keep putting you back. That's because it could have been prevented,
that could have been prevented. And the thing is, like, it even got to the point where he said she was shaking and like she had turned cold. It's kind of like, and they found I don't know how many, but it was a lot of pints of blood in her abdomen from just bleeding out.
That's wild, man. Yeah, these horror stories is like, and I just recently saw the interview of Gabrielle Union and Dwyane Wade with Oprah about her, surrogacy and her complications with being pregnant, and how she tried 8 times. What does it do? Like IVF or whatever. And, each time it failed and they couldn't know why. She didn't really know why, but I recently read, what was I? It was some interview or something like that. And somebody was really talking about like the process of like IVF, the process of like freezing your eggs and how invasive that is. And there's like surgeries included and like, it's like a lot to do and the hormones and everything. It's not like this little, just like, oh, take a shot. Okay. Here are your eggs. It's like a lot. She did that 8 times and failed all 8 times. I mean, not just thinking about how that, puts a lot of burden on you physically, but emotionally too. But from Gabrielle's perspective, she was just super determined, like, I'm not going to give up. And it was actually Dwyane was like, all right, nah, babe, you got to chill because you're doing too much. Because I think the next phase, it was some kind of new type of surgery they were going to try next. And Gabrielle was like, oh, I'm for it. And then with Dwyane was like, nah, I've seen you go through too much. We're going to have to do it differently now. And then that's when they thought of, wind up doing the surrogate instead. And she said, like, I forgot what the name of it is called, but pretty much after like the 8 times, they've wind up finding out that she had this condition or whatever, where her uterus was like pretty much covering the fetus every time, and which was stopping, and they didn't know it, right? And I don't know why they didn't know it, but she was like, a lot of people, because in the comments would say like, oh, this is because of your old age, la la la, and no, they said this was all that's been the case for her because of the condition. This would have happened if she would try to get pregnant in her 20s, but the doctors just didn't know, you know. She's like, this is like the issues of being like a Black woman and trying to get pregnant, and like the assumptions they make of not taking things seriously, and her going through these 8 trials and still having all these complications where it could have been found out way earlier, you know?
And she would have had to go through all of that.
Yeah. So it's just crazy, man. It's just like, I don't know.
Well, blessings to them. Did they address the controversy around how people were kind of like commenting on her doing like skin to skin in a hospital?
Oh, yeah.
And she was in the gown and stuff. Did they talk about that? Because I remember it was a lot of buzz about that.
Yeah, they talked about it, you know. And I don't know, their thing was just like, I don't know why people were upset, you know, because they were like, everybody suggests skin to skin. And, you know, and I think people were upset because I think they felt that they just like snatched the baby from the surrogate and was like, come on over here. And she was like, no, that wasn't the case. You know, the surrogate spent time with the baby, and then she had to go, you know, recover. And then it was like my turn, you know, my time. And that was the only room, like the only space available in the hospital or whatever it was. And so that's what she just wanted to do, it, like to spend time with her newborn. But yeah, they addressed it. They talked about it in the interview.
Okay, that's good. Because, yeah, I saw people making comments like, oh, this reminds me of like Handmaid's Tale. Have you ever seen that show?
No, but I know people talk about it all the time.
But it's kind of like with Handmaid's Tale, what they do is, you know, they'll have like the wife who can't bear children pretending to go through like labor pains and like it's like really weird things. And then like as soon as the handmaid actually has the baby, you know, they immediately like, take it and give it to the wife, and, you know, to make her feel like you just did this. And so I saw a lot of comments that were like, you know, she was in the hospital gown, her hair looked messy. So it's kind of like, are you pretending that you get what I'm saying? Yeah. I think that's where the backlash came from, but it's good that they addressed it, because it was kind of like, why does she look disheveled? She hasn't.
Yeah. She was just like, she just said she wasn't, well, one that they, so they said they were involved with the process the entire time. So like every ultrasound visit, her and Dwyane went, you know what I'm saying? And they were there with them. And they said when the women went into labor, she was in LA, and, you know, she immediately like booked on the flight. You know, she was filming her show with her and Jessica Alba or whatever. They just hopped on the flight immediately and like flew out there. And then she was like, we were there like the whole 30 something hours while she was in labor. And then when opportunity came for hold the baby or whatever, like she wasn't really prepared for it. So that's why, but, you know, she wanted to take off her shirt, but they didn't have like anything else. So they just used the gown or whatever.
Hospital
to keep her covered, because she was like, you know, if Dwyane had his shirt off, it wouldn't be an issue. But of course, you know, I couldn't just have my shirt off being exposed to the world like that. So we want to cover it. So, you know, they explained it, and, you know, and I can understand how people were just like, I just snatched the baby, and like, you know.
Like you do it, especially like I said, I think people just like have looked at Handmaid's Tale, they like,
and they said they talk to the surrogate couple every day, you know, and because I think Oprah was asking the question, like, what happens at this point? Like, do the surrogates, are they still going to be in the child's life, or are you going to tell the baby? And they're like, no, we're going to be completely transparent, you know, and the surrogates were a part of the process, and they'll probably remain in contact and touch base and visit the baby and all that stuff. So it's like, you know, they're pretty open about it. But they say a lot of people in the comments too, because Oprah was like, why are you reading all these comments? But Gary was like, you know, you tell yourself not to, but you can't help it. Because there's a lot of people who think that the genetics of the baby or the surrogates are not like Gabrielle and Dwyane's, because they don't know how it fully works. And so a lot of them were commenting like, oh, it's not even your baby or not even your genetics, and the baby's too light skinned, like all this kind of stuff. And they actually talked about that too, how colorism is already affecting like this newborn, how people are already going in on the comments about the baby's too light compared to you two. Like, yo, baby's 2 weeks old. Like, relax.
So you know what? Not just with their baby. It's been so with the baby, the man who had to make the decision about his daughter and wife. The couple, they were both dark skinned, and the baby looks like a baby. And I'm just so confused because people making comments about why the baby's so light and they're dark. Do y'all not realize the babies come out like that and they develop color over time? Like, I'm so confused. But like, have y'all never seen a baby before? Like, oh, so confused.
They never, because they wild. It is wild. Everything takes time to develop. Baby ain't exposed to no sun, no light, or nothing. To have all its melanin that fast. Relax. It takes a little time.
Relax. Like, actually, so this is what like the old grandmamas used to say, look at the baby ears. The baby ears.
They talked about that in the interview too. He's talking about how everybody, all their family members be pulling back the hat, trying to look at the baby's ears. I
mean, it's true though. I don't know how true it is, but I know it is true that the older generation say that.
Yep, I heard that too. So that's funny. But yeah, let's just be careful, y'all out there, Black women out there trying to get pregnant, want to have babies, just gotta stay on your P's and Q's and really, you want me and Kristen and I had these conversations, like we're going to be super careful of like which doctors we choose, and
oh, be very careful. That is the biggest thing. If you feel uncomfortable with anything that the doctor has done or said, find somebody else. You know what I'm saying?
I'm like, can we go to because we watched that show Married to Medicine, and what's her name?
yeah, Dr. Jackie.
Dr. Jackie. I'm like, we might just have to go to Dr. Jackie, just figure this out.
You know what's funny? So I won't say that I'm 100% fond of her like social personality, but I would definitely go to her because of the care that I feel like she has with her patients. So like from a doctor standpoint, I would definitely go to
for
Dr.
sure.
Jackie. I definitely don't want to go to drinks with Dr. Jackie.
Oh no. Oh, that show is too funny, man.
It is. Although I think they're trying to kill that show because they keep on switching the days that it comes on.
Kristen keeps like, why they keep changing the days? I'm like, I don't know. It was on Sundays and Saturdays. Now it's on Fridays.
Yeah, it's on Fridays. I think they're trying to kill the show. I couldn't even catch it on Friday because I had stuff to do. You know what I'm saying? That's when people go out and unwind for the week.
Yeah. I mean, luckily we just record it automatically on our DVR. So whatever day it comes on, it just records. But yeah, it's been switching these days. But yeah, okay. Anything? I think I have another story too that I found out that was pretty interesting, and that I think may make a lot of people pretty excited. And we'll see.
Okay.
It's going to be a while before, we see if this actually happens. But in its early stages of development with this particular type of science, what they're finding is that this says new discovery may soon allow you to eat whatever you want without gaining weight.
Oh, please, Lord.
Oh, my goodness. So what they've been finding is that researchers at this Flinders University in Australia said they found a single gene called RCAN1, and they pretty much removed this gene from mice. And the rodents were able to eat a high-fat diet. They ate multiple diets to test it, but the rodents that ate the high-fat diet did not gain any weight. And they said this is held to be true even with animals that even had especially gluttonous and gorged on the fatty chow that just went ham on the food, did not gain any weight when this RCAN gene was removed. And so now, of course, this is raising the question like, let's see if we can find this in humans and, maybe see if we can test this and hopefully reduce things like the obesity epidemic, etc. But I thought that might be a interesting piece of news for people out there who enjoy.
Oh, no, I need that in my life. Like, seriously, I woke up this morning and was just like, maybe this is just the weight I want to be. Because I'm tired of trying to diet. And that could just save me some time.
Yeah. Like it just pretty much saying that if the RCAN, one gene, if it translates into humans, like, if they find it to be still effective, it just pretty much means that your body won't convert the fat from foods into fat into your body, which is, again, pretty interesting. and we'll see how this, over time will turn out to be. But that'd be cool. If you could take a drug and just be like, yo, I could go ham today. And no, you're not gaining a single pound.
Oh, trust me. I'll be eating everything.
But then I wonder the other effects though, too. Like, okay, maybe you won't gain fat, but what about like, I don't know, things with like sodium, cholesterol, all that other kind of stuff.
You know what? You'll probably still have to worry about those things.
Yeah.
But that just means that I can eat my regular carbs. Because I don't go too crazy, but it's just like there are just certain foods I like. Mm-hmm. And I happen to like a very carby diet, which is my body. It just doesn't work with my body,
mm-hmm. If this ever came out to be true, one thing I will be watching, I'll be trying to see how much of them vegans stay vegans.
Right.
See how y'all's gonna commit to the cause once you know you can eat anything. See if y'all gonna stay with it.
Well, some of them do it for moral reasons, mm-hmm. but truth be told, I'm not trying to start no drama, and this is really no shade, but they be eating stuff like vegan cupcakes, and like they don't be healthy anyway. A lot of them aren't eating like the raw vegetable diet. A lot of them are still eating the bad food mm-hmm. we eat. They're just not eating the meat.
Yeah, pretty much.
Vegan cookies, vegan cupcakes, vegan muffins, vegan. It's like,
it's just funny.
What are you doing?
It's just funny, like how just, I don't know, I guess the feelings of how they present themselves, or not all the vegans, but like, I guess the reputation, like kind of like this, this bougie class of diet, like, oh, we're better than y'all. Like, relax, y'all. Sorry.
I got this one story that is just kind of like, come on, y'all, do better, sis. Okay, so there was this. Do you know what the NCIS is? Have you ever heard of that show?
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, so of course there's a real life Naval Criminal Investigative Service. Mm-hmm. Well, there was this high-powered sister from Houston. Who was a part of the NCIS. And she was posted in Dubai as a liaison at the U.S. consulate. Well, I guess she met this dude who, was balling, started treating her right. Well, her, NCIS people and the FBI was like, stay away from this guy. He's dangerous or whatnot. She decided not to stay away. He even threw her like this lavish birthday party, and she kind of tipped him off to the fact that he was being investigated by the FBI over possible like terrorist activity. Mm-hmm. And now our 45-year-old sister is facing trial in Houston for attempting to obstruct justice, influence, or impede justice over a relationship with this 46-year-old Syrian man. Come on, sis.
That's great. So was he doing that intentionally to kind of get that info or?
You know what? They don't say in the article, but I do wonder, like, he knew, because the thing is, he knew what her position was because he had told her, like, oh, he's having a difficult time getting a U.S. visa. And so she used her security clearance to, like, look up, why he's having a difficult time and, kind of tipped him up. So it's kind of like, I don't know if it was love or he saw her as like a means to an end to see what was going on. Mm-hmm. But now she, now she facing jail time.
Yeah, I think there probably was some intent on his behalf. I'm trying to think, like, if I know the FBI is looking at me or I'm under some kind of surveillance or investigation, you would think you would try to stay away from them, or anybody associated with them. Mm-hmm. And so now if he knew what she did or was doing for a living or whatever, and he had kept in touch, he probably was like, yeah, I'm trying to get some info.
She thought he was down with the swirl. He just wanted some info. He wanted the tea.
Just wanted that intel. That's it. A lot of these stories are funny, man, because it'd be like just like stuff you would just see on TV shows and movies, happening in real life. It's just funny.
We'll have to look and see if one of the NCIS characters on a TV show, if they're going to fall in love with a criminal and face trial.
So somebody's writing that up right now, I bet.
Yeah.
Okay, people. Well, be careful. Be careful who you date. And that's the tough question, the moral of the story for today, for sure.
Moral of the story.
But all right, that's all I have for today. As we said, we're just doing these mini episodes during the break until, new year, and we'll start going back to our traditional interview format. But anything else, Daph? You had enough? Good?
No, those are the big stories. Want to keep some stuff for next week too.
All right. Yeah. I'm sure we'll have some more things popping up always in this day age of social media. But other than that, tune in next week. We'll continue the same format. Like I said, these mini episodes, current events. If you want to be involved or want to be a guest on the show, or you have topic ideas, be sure to email us at bhdpodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at BHD Podcast. Visit our website, www.blackandhighlydangerous.com, to keep up with our latest content and all that good stuff. And continue to rate and review us on iTunes for sure. Share it with your friends, share it with your family, and share it with your enemies. And as always, continue to be the oppressor's worst fear.
Yes.
If you're interested in continuing this and other conversations, visit our website, blackandhighlydangerous.com, to subscribe to our email list, suggest topics, and participate in our discussion forums.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at BHD Podcast. And please don't forget to subscribe and rate our podcast on your favorite platform. And as always, continue to be the oppressor's worst fear.